Show me the ways you avoid stillness, and I'll show you the patterns that run your life. Taken a step further, show me the ways you avoid stillness, and I'll show you the barriers to your deepest fulfillment. There is a cultural aversion to stillness. I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but I find it very interesting. And I also have a lot of empathy for it. This aversion to stillness shows up in a lot of different ways, which makes it hard for people to actually see. In fact, action and doing in all the ways that we tend to avoid stillness are often celebrated in our culture. It's very easy to take the energy of avoidance and restlessness and turn it into busyness, or taking care of your family, or working really hard, focusing on achievement, focusing on success, none of which are inherently wrong. But if you really were to look at the pattern, the energy underneath the pattern, you'll often see that there's a resistance to being yourself, a resistance to being itself. Most people have not touched that intimately. They are terrified of it. They have learned, often from an early age, that it's not okay to be. And then they compensate in order to get praise, safety, love, connection. I have to do more. I have to be more. I have to act a certain way. I have to smile in the conversation before the other person finishes speaking so that they know I care and I'm there, right? The people-pleasing pattern. And so much of this starts young. A lot of these patterns also start in older age, but they become our personality structure. They become our way of living. We get so used to them that we don't even realize they're patterns anymore. It's just, that's who I am. That is not who you are. It is not who you are. And that way of living is often exhausting. In fact, even if you don't perceive it as exhausting, there is an exhaustion that is accumulating. Because any time that we live out these conditioned patterns of avoidance, trying to be a particular version of ourselves that we think others want us to be, or that will prevent us from having to touch some pain or discomfort from stillness, exhaustion is accumulating. That is the conditioned self, the personality structure running your life. It will never give you deep fulfillment. It can't give you deep fulfillment. Its whole thing is trying to organize and orchestrate your inner world and outer world to avoid your true nature. And so this thing that you sometimes hear in personal growth or spiritual circles of finding stillness and cultivating stillness, it's not just a platitude that you put on the wall with the live, laugh, love sign. This is a really deep inquiry into who you are at your core and all the ways that you've learned it's not okay to be you. Coming back to stillness, really finding an inner anchor that can hold you through the hurricane of your life is not easy. There's a lot of unwinding that has to happen, a lot of fears that you have to touch, sometimes momentarily, sometimes for a longer period of time, fears that tell you if you don't act a certain way or perform or think a certain way that you're not going to be okay. So all of those have to get touched as you do this unwinding. So it's hard and it's beautiful and there's a softness to it and there is an ease to it. The invitation into stillness is a relinquishing of control of the conditioned parts of you, the personality structure that is constantly trying to do life right. Letting that go and seeing that there is an ocean of presence, of clarity, of warmth and love and space that is there to hold you, that you can dwell in, that all the things in your system that feel unresolved, the problems, the not sure what to do in the relationship, the stuff that feels too big, the family dynamics that your mind is getting in there wrestling with, and if I just orchestrate it this way and I do that, and then, can you feel that energy? Sometimes it happens in a low-grade way. Other times it really flares, and that's when maybe we call a therapist or a friend and just like, I need to talk to someone. But it's just like often a Band-Aid. And it's, what do I have to do to rearrange the variables to make everything okay again? Right? It's rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. So most of us live our entire lives in that way without ever looking at, is there something bigger that can hold me? And there is. I've spent thousands of hours exploring it myself because I was living that way. The buzz, the conditioned self, trying to do the right thing, get to the right place, thinking once I get there and these things happen, if I just kind of keep pushing and doing, then it will all come together. That was an illusion. That was a fantasy. Sometimes I could make the external world kind of nice, and that felt good. I thought I got it until it shifted, or I got bored of it and needed something else. Right? And so I just got fascinated by these people I would see who had an inner rooting that was just unperturbed. It was beautiful. I'd look into their eyes, I'd be in their presence, and I could sense this person had something different than I had ever experienced with any successful person. And I knew I wanted it. And that really became the work of this inner exploration, a lot through meditation, but then learning, what does stillness look like in relationship? What does it look like to be anchored to the deepest, most spacious place in me when I'm in the real world, not in the monastery, in conflict with my wife or family or friends, when there are stressors? Right? And so those are all the things that tend to pull us out of stillness. They pull us back into these younger conditioned parts of the scripts we have to perform, the ways we have to protect ourselves. And stillness invites something different. Instead of gripping tighter and pushing harder, it actually says, hey, soften back into yourself. You can actually let this go. Not that you have to abandon responsibility or not think about it or not try to resolve something. But the part of you that's trying to do that is so limited. Let me hold this with you. When you touch that, your life changes. You really only need to see it once for something big to shift. And then it's a practice of reconnecting over and over and over. And from that place, there is a radiance that emerges, a magnetism to your presence, because it invites people into that place as well. And there's an honesty in a space that is deeply compelling from that place. And so in this program, we explore how to touch that inner stillness within you that every person has access to. And you might be coming to this thinking I'm just kind of reactive, or I'm pretty restless, or my partner tells me I'm a little too agitated and I need to slow down. And you're like, just give me the antidote. You're going to get that, but it might be a little different than you think. We often have to first confront some of the fears that have caused us to push so hard. And that itself can be confronting and a little uncomfortable. But we're going to play at some of those edges of where does stillness feel not okay? Where does activity and doing and avoidance show up in your life? What are your particular patterns of avoidance? Does it show up as fast speaking? Does it show up as an inability to just kind of be? Do you get through a long work day and then the only way you know how to relax is to have a drink or to put the TV on or to scroll on your phone or maybe to just keep doing until you're so tired then you pass out and then you repeat the whole thing again? Right, so you're gonna have the opportunity to explore what those patterns are within yourself and then what the work actually looks like to start that unwinding. Now, this course was run as a retreat, so it's all pre-recorded. You can do it as an immersive experience over a couple of days. If you want to start on like a Friday night and then go all day Saturday, all day Sunday, that's great if you have the time. But the beautiful thing about it being recorded is that you can also space it out. You can do one session one day, let it digest and integrate, and then come back a few days later or a week later and do the next session, let it digest and integrate. And that's another beautiful way to go through the work. The course is deep and it is designed to really help you touch the deepest place in you. And I really just hope you get the chance to get to experience it. In addition to the course material, which will include 12 hours of teachings and practices where we gradually go through this unwinding process, and you get to experience the beauty and the aliveness of this stillness and learn how to dwell there and anchor there. In addition to that, there's also a lot of follow-up resources that you can read about below, lots of different meditations and bonus resources that you get to support you moving forward. And the value of all of those things are more than the price of the course itself. So be sure to check that out. But if there's something about this topic, and even hearing me talk about it, that speaks to you, that maybe your mind can't fully understand, maybe it seems like, no, I'm kind of doing okay, but there's something deeper in your body that you can feel a draw to, I just ask you to trust that. That has been the thing that has pulled me into every beautiful inquiry in my life and has opened up so many new doors internally. I often didn't have a cognitive sense of why I needed it, but there was just this deep felt sense, similar to when I first started exploring stillness and meditation. I would see these people and I was like, I don't know what it is about them who've had, thousands of hours of practice, or maybe it wasn't meditation people, but people who really explored stillness in particular ways. It's like, I don't know what it is exactly, but there's something about them that I don't have. I want to know what that is, and I want to see if I can cultivate it within myself. And I just want to tell you it's possible. It's possible. So I hope you get a chance to experience the course. You can read more details below. If you do sign up, I'll see you in there. Lots of love. Thank you for your practice, and take care.